Hi, Alistair. I just wanted to update you on some of the things that I'm sure you're curious about with regards to bearded dragons. So, let me start by telling you or showing you what I'm using as a lighting system. So, I've opted for the Flucker's basking bulb. I used to use another company's bulb that I can't remember the name brand of it, but it didn't work out very well, and Flucker's has been a good alternative. At night, I use a heat lamp. By the way, I'm using 60 watts for the size tank that I have. And this heat lamp, or bulb I should say, is quite lovely because it helps you see the animal at night, and at the same time it doesn't disturb their sleep cycle, which is great because they should have 10 to 12 hours of sleep every night, and the red bulbs that they make for reptiles are actually really bad for them because it disturbs their sleep. Also with this basking bulb, 60 watt basking bulb. 50 and 60 watts are great for 10 and 20 gallon tanks, especially in the summer. But if your house is warm throughout the year, then it should be fine for that size of tank at any time. Also during the day, in another light fixture, I have one of these. It's called an Exoterra UVB light or bulb, and that goes together with this. So these two things are on all day long for most of the day. I have two of these things for you. They're light fixtures for when the tank is properly set up, and when you take your baby home, you'll be taking these with you. And so of course, during the day you'll have the UVB and the basking spot lamp on, or light bulb, pardon me. And at night you'll turn all of those off, wait 15 minutes, and replace them with just this one nighttime bulb, which is fantastic. All 60 watts or 50 watts. So, the other thing I wanted to tell you is when I feed your animal or anybody else's, or my own actually, so I'll feed crickets or mealworms. Mealworms are more of a snack, so crickets are preferable. And right now we're getting an order of 1/4-inch crickets, which are smaller, and hopefully the baby likes it. So every other day I will dust with something called calcium powder. Shouldn't be done every day. And I have something called vitamin spray or powder, and that I also put on the food every couple of days. In order to keep the crickets alive, I give them something called cricket quencher, which is like gel water for the crickets. And that's going to keep all those little critters alive and having a good life while they're in my care before I feed them to the lizards. I also feed them a high calcium cricket diet, which is basically like oatmeal. And so they nibble on that, they drink the water from those gel pieces, and they also really love things like carrots and other fruits and vegetables. And also you always have to make sure that you dust those things with calcium powder when you put them in for your crickets, and also that you look up what bearded dragons can eat and only feed that to the crickets so that they're eating the healthiest possible food. So what you see in front of you is a small tank right now, and the reason for that is because there's a bit of a surprise that I didn't tell you about. And that is that, well, while I got you Little Dipper, I also got myself a little bearded dragon baby too, and her name is Ruby or June. I like to call her Junie, but I also like to call her Ruby because she fires up in red, like your baby does. So I will show you them both. And the man that sold them to me is quite an expert. And they came in these little containers, so tiny, right? And he told me which one was a female. See the F there for female? And which one was the male. But we'll do our own experiment when you bring the flashlight. And now I'm going to show you the two creatures one after the other. So, let me just get them first. Here's your dipper. And this is the one that was identified as the little boy. And like I told you, he's so sweet and so tiny. And I really want him to eat a little bit more. Hi, Alistair. Sweet thing. Okay. Let me just reach Junie. Come on, June. And here is June. Also tiny, tiny. And this is the one that was identified as a girl. And I just figured that you might prefer the boy. So we're keeping it as that. And as long as he stays healthy and strong, he's going to be your little baby, the other one, and this girl's going to be mine. Okay? Go in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. So, here's my spray bottle. I spray them regularly. They like to lick the water off their noses for hydration. And the reason I put them in such a small tank right now, so you see this is only a 20-gallon, but I've separated it with cardboard. And that is because I wanted, they're so tiny that too much space would scare them right now. And I can't keep them together, even though they want to be together, because I've had experiences where such tiny ones attacked each other. So we don't want that. But anyway, I'll show you their home a little bit more clearly. Their temporary home. So if you can see there, there's birch wood as for enrichment for them to climb, and rocks, and little dishes to drink out of, little dishes to eat out of. And of course the crickets just hop around and they help themselves. And when I set up the tank, when they're a little bit bigger, their own individual tanks, of course everybody will have their own proper lighting and their own separate items and enrichment things for their development in their tanks. So don't worry about that. And they're quite comfortable where they are. This is just a temporary setup. And so that's that. Those are Dipper and Junie. And I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you enjoyed it. The other surprise, you'll have your little guy will be growing up alongside his sister. We'll keep notes and we'll send each other information. I'll tell you how my little thing is doing, and you'll tell me how your little guy is doing. All right. So have a great evening, and I hope this information makes you happy. Bye.